This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Author Robert Frost was an avid poet who lived in America during the 20th century. His poem The Road Not Taken is still one of his best works. Frost's exceptional depictions of America's rural life and his mastery of colloquial speech make him one of the best poets of the 20th century. In most of his works, the rural New England setting is used to examine philosophical and sociological themes. His work made him an American literature heavyweight, and he won several Pulitzer Prizes in the process. Frost's stature in poetry can only be compared to that of other notable figures like Eliot and Stevens. Summary. In this poem, the speaker has come upon a diversion in a path in the woods. In the woods, the leaves' color is already turning. It is at this fork that the speaker contemplates which road to follow. The main problem is that the speaker needs help to follow both paths. After examining one of the paths as far as she can see, she decides to take the other. In the speaker's mind, the path she takes is less worn out. However, the truth is that both paths are almost the same. Near the end, the speaker reflects on how he plans to try the road she did not take. Nevertheless, according to the speaker, the chances of doing this are minimal. In The Road Not Taken, the poet uses a reflective tone to address the significance of the choices one makes in life. In this poem, symbolism is the tool used to bring about this reflection. The road referred to by the speaker is the most prominent symbol in the poem. In this case, the road refers to a path in life. The poem addresses universal themes that are easy to relate to. In turn, this increases the poem's audience. The poet also employs devices such as rhythms and rhymes. These make the poem easy to read and synthesize. In the end, the speaker uses a nostalgic tone when pondering on what lay on the path she did not take. Analysis. This poem has 4 stanzas. Each of the 4 stanzas has 5 lines. These 5 lines have a rhyme scheme of ABAAB. The poem is in the form of a narrative. Each of the lines in the poem has 9 syllables. The Road Not Taken is one of the most famous poems by Robert Frost. Sometimes, the title of this poem is mistaken for The Road Less Traveled. Over the years, the poem has been studied in high schools around the country. Most analyzers classify The Road Not Taken as a nostalgic interpretation of personal choices. The narrator decided to use the less traveled path instead of the more popular one. The narrator also acknowledges that her life would have been fundamentally different if his or her choice was different. In the narrator's view, the road not taken was more popular than the one she took. Most readers find this poem easy to relate to as it is easy for them to empathize with the narrator. This is because almost everyone has been in a situation where she had to choose between 2 options. Like the narrator, in most cases, one cannot see beyond the bend in the undergrowth. Without this knowledge of where the path would lead, the only consolation is to have faith that one made the right choice. The narrator's decision to follow the less popular path shows bravery. Most readers would like to possess such bravery when making life choices. For instance, most people are in the habit of going with the more popular decisions when put in the narrator's position. The narrator chooses to take a less safe path, hoping those who come after him can emulate this. A closer analysis of the poem reveals that the narrator's hypothesis is somehow inaccurate. The narrator is talking about these 2 paths years after making his or her choice. For instance, when the narrator reaches the diversion point, both paths are described as equally fair. It seems that even the narrator cannot conclusively declare that one path is better. The narrator uses the term perhaps in justifying this choice. Old age has already come when the narrator justifies his or her choice. Therefore, in the narrator's admission, it is impossible to determine which of these 2 choices is better. In the first 3 stanzas, there is no sense of remorse in the narrator's voice. The narrator is very confident with his/her decision. In addition, the narrator does not admit to the importance of this decision in his/her life. It is only later that the narrator tries to organize the events of his/her life in a manner that makes sense to both the narrator and the audience. The need to justify this choice is perhaps a way of addressing questions pertaining to the outcome of the narrator's life. Ultimately, the narrator sticks to the belief that the path taken was less popular. This is in a bid to let the audience know that making this choice was inevitable. The narrator alludes to the fact that she had to make his/her choice in the morning. In the third stanza, the narrator acknowledges that she was at the path in the morning, and not many people had used the path at the time. This means two things. The first is that this choice was made early in life, and the second is that there were few examples to follow. These two claims successfully alert the reader about the complexity of the narrator's situation. Most people can also relate to this by remembering the decisions they made when they were younger. This makes it easier to sympathize with the narrator. The narrator's lack of a choice she could emulate makes the situation even more complex. This is because, in such scenarios, most people use other people's experiences when making up their minds. Life is entirely of choices. Even seemingly inconsequential choices can impact one's life in a big way. This statement surrounds the poem's central theme and message. The title of the poem is The Road Not Taken. Still, the poem explores the other option or the road that was taken. Using rhymes and rhythm, the poet conveys his message skillfully. The basic argument is that even though one may be faced with difficult choices in life, one eventually has to pick a path and stick to it. The only thing one can do is to believe that the path she took was the right path. Did you like this The Road Not Taken summary and analysis sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs.